Don't forget that the Akatsi North constituency was created in 2012. It's quite a new constituency. It was created in 2012 and it is located in the Akatsi North district of the Volta region. That was created by the Electoral Commission prior to the 2012 general elections. And we know, so the incumbent has been there from 2012 up till date. And there's also a very important thing happening at the Akatsi North constituency, because on Tuesday, the NDC's Functional Executive Committee suspended or dissolved the electoral committees of Akatsi North and South, and which were overseeing the conduct of the parliamentary primaries over there. It's for one reason, because the Functional Executive Committee said that they had taken notes that the independence and credibility of the committees in ensuring free, fair, transparent, and credible parliamentary primaries in that constituency has been compromised, and that is why they suspended it. But they've also replaced that with new teams which have been put in place to ensure the credibility and integrity of the electoral process. And now the electoral committee for Akatsi North constituency comprises Mr. Ben Chester Ati, who is chairman of that committee, and membership of that committee includes Dr. Ajroma Wuto Agbavito, Madam Mary Agbanyenu, and Frank Efriye. That's the new committee, electoral committee, that's been put in place by the Functional Executive Committee of the NDC after suspecting that the credibility of the primaries will be in jeopardy if they maintained the old people over there. So we'll be getting into the aspirants of this constituency, but we've also been speaking with constituents. Here's the expectation of constituents of Akatsi North.
Me, I'm just expecting all the candidates in this upcoming NDC primaries to very decorum in their messages. They should campaign on a genuine ground, because this is a family affair. So at the end of the day, we all come together as a party, because whoever that emerges the winner in these primaries, we will all, as a delegate, rally behind them for the agenda 2020 victory to be ours. So all the candidates and their supporters, whenever you are going around, be very, very peaceful in your campaign messages, so that we shouldn't end up dividing the party before 2020.
Okay. My next MP for Akatsi North, my expectation for him to empower the youth, because rural migration is uprising in Akatsi North. After SS, GSS, they normally move from Akatsi North to Accra before looking for jobs. I think they can help the youth to focus on their little jobs, to help them do their own thing, not only moving from here to Accra before looking for jobs. So they should empower the youth.
I want the MP, the incumbent MP, to continue with us, because he is a unifier. He do everything for the party and for the constituency. When it comes about education, he's there. Somebody is sick, he's there. Every celebration, funeral is there. I think for him, if we pick him again, we can get more votes to win power come 2020. So I'm really behind him to win power for us, so that the NDC, Akatsi North, can boast.
In our area, we are farmers, everybody knows. And we need someone that can improve in farming, can provide us with equipment and skills that we used to farm. And mostly our roads are not good. If you go to Aferengba, from Aferengba to Seva area, the road is very, very bad. During rainy season, we find it very difficult to send our farm items to market. So rainy season, our food items got spoiled because of the road. So we need a good MP that will help us, do our roads for us and the rest. And the most thing that disturbs we the youth, most thing is our educational level. You know, some are qualified, very nice to move to another level, but our MPs are not helping us. They are not doing anything to help us, but we are qualified. And one thing is, they take some things as a family issue. Like when you are not a member of their family, they'll never help you to that level. So we need someone that can help with the youth to that.
So you heard some constituents of Akatsi North expressing their views on who should win that primaries or who should lead the constituency, and also outlining the challenges facing them in that constituency. 3 people are contesting for that seat, and it includes the incumbent Peter Nochukotoi, who has been there since 2012. Also, Dr. Donald Senanu Agumenu is also contesting and aspiring to be the rep for the NDC during the parliamentary elections. And Dr. Stephen Tokpo is also aspiring to be a candidate for that area. We'll get to speak to all 3 of them. But let me show you how dynamic it's been in that area since 2012. And in 2016, you see that the electoral fortunes of the NDC keeps improving in that constituency. In the 2012 elections, you have Peter Nochukotoi, who is the incumbent representing the NDC, polling 10,879 votes. And then the New Patriotic Party's Prince Sodeke Amuzu, polling 1,971. The Convention People's Party's Vincent Kujo Nogbeji, polling 259. That's a very big gap there. So there's no doubt that that constituency still belongs to the NDC. All that you need to do is to win the primaries and be assured that you're going to Parliament. Now, fast forward to 2016, and you have NDC's Peter Nochukotoi again, adding more than 1,000 votes to what he garnered in 2012. And he pulled 11,482 votes in 2016 election. That's an addition from the 2012 results. And New Patriotic Party's Prince Sodoke Amuzu once again coming to 1,379. So you see the dynamics. Whilst the NDC's votes increase in that constituency, the NPP's votes seem to be decreasing. Because if you compare to 2012, Prince Amuzu polled 1,973. Now in 2016, you find him polling 1,379 and losing all the other votes to his NDC contender. That is why that area is a cool run for the NDC. Let me get to the phone line and speak with the incumbent Member of Parliament of the Akatsi North constituency. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Honorable Peter Nochukotoi, and thanks for your time on Stronghold.
Good afternoon, Aisha, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I hope you're doing so too. But throughout our conversation with your constituent, key among the challenges facing them, we've had bad roads, and it's very key to the people in your constituency. They make the explanation that, or they make the point that even during rainy seasons, they are not able to send their farm produce to the market to sell and make some money. They've also made the point that they lack electricity, they lack water, and there's unemployment in that constituency. And also education is also one of the things that they want to see more in that constituency. I mean, let's start with infrastructure. What can you boast of since you be Member of Parliament since 2012?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. Yeah, I'm a second-term Member of Parliament for the Akatsi North constituency. And as far as I can tell you, we have done much in the constituency, first in the area of education. Actually, when the district was created in 2012, we realized that our major problem is human resource development. So my target has been to develop the human resource of the area. In the area of making sure that at least our people can attain a tertiary education. So I can say for certainty that more than 70% of my funds that I receive, either from guest fund or common fund, is spent on education in the district or the constituency. So far, since 2013, At least I've been able to sponsor about 180 students from the area in the tertiary level, and some at the universities, colleges of education, and then nurses training colleges. So many people have benefited from my common fund allocation, because as I said, education or human resource development is our area. It's a challenge. We have very few people who have attained a first degree in the constituency. So I have set myself to that target that every year we should be turning out quite a number of graduates, either from the universities or colleges of education or nursing training colleges, and that is on course. If you come to other aspects of education, infrastructure deficit for some time before I became MP was very bad. Had poor classroom conditions in the district, but I can tell you for sure that we have improved on the infrastructure conditions in the constituency. Only very few schools in the district now, only the newly established ones, basic ones, which don't have the needed infrastructure. But all the old ones, I can say, have gotten enough classrooms for teachers. Our problem now is the newly established ones, which we have to fight and get additional class for. We have been able to also, or I've been able to establish the district education directorate in the district. You will realize that when the district was opened, there was no provision for the putting of district education office. So we had to get a place. I had to refurbish it fully for supply all the equipment that the district will need to enable them take off. I was also able to get a pickup for them, which they are using for monitoring and other things that the directorate will need. I make a monthly allocation or quarterly allocation to the Ghana Education Service to enable them do their supervision and then the monitoring activities. So also you realize that what we need to do, or we have been doing, is to motivate our teachers. So for some time, whatever equipment they will need, even basic things that they will need in the classrooms, like even teachers' notebooks, class registers, and all those things, I have supplied them to the district education directorate to be distributed to the schools to enable them do their work well.
I like to stick more with the human resource development part, which seemed to be dear to your heart. How would you score yourself? Of course, because it includes education, which your constituents are yearning for. How would you score yourself, especially considering the fact that you have a background in management of rural sector development?
Yeah, you know, for every community or society to develop, education is paramount. And that's what I've set myself for. The constituency is a rural one. And I have discovered that without education, poverty will continue to be endemic in the constituency. That's why I've set myself to that target, and I'm sure I am achieving it. I cannot say I've done it completely. We are on the process, or we are in the process. So what is important is that the results are showing that we are getting a headway, or we are making a headway. So what is important is to improve on what we have now and continue to make sure that we sponsor our youth who are gaining admission to the various tertiary institutions in the country. And as I'm talking now, we are in the process of even getting money for those who have been called to the various tertiary institutions to pay their initial fees to enable them to go to school at the end of this month and early next month. So that is the situation. I wouldn't like to give any marks to myself, but I have done so much that I am proud of it.
Honorable Nochu, I'll have you hold there and get onto the other phone line where Dr. Donald Senonu Agomenu joins us in the studio. He joins us via phone and joins the discussion going on in the studio. And don't also forget that you can send your messages to 0266 047417 on WhatsApp. Dr. Senonu Agomenu, good afternoon to you. Tell us more about who Dr. Senano is, and why the people of Akatsi North should give you the nod.
Yes, thank you, Aisha. This is Donald Agumano, management consultant, leadership expert, a human-centered professional. I believe that the best we have to do is to build in the human capital necessary for mitigating or meeting the challenges of the 21st century. If you look at Akatsi North, basically, like my senior brother said, education is so critical, and the deficit in the educational sector is exponential. And my vision basically is to look at education holistically. How can we look at technical education and the traditional or vocational and the traditional education? How do we build capacity for our teammates? How do we build capacity for the younger ones that are in school and have completed?
Okay, Dr. Senano, we're having breaks in your line. If you could position yourself well so we can hear you better.
Hello?
But whilst you do that,
Hello?
I think it's better
Hello?
now. It's better now.
It's better. Thank you. Yeah, what I'm trying to say basically, when you look at the deficit in the educational sector within the constituency, it's quite exponential. I'm glad my MP has that vision. But the issue is, what is the holistic blueprint in building up a sustainable way forward for education? For instance, when you take the only secondary school in the constituency, I'm glad that through the leadership of our predecessors, and also when senior secondary technical education was brought on board, Akatsi South, initially it was available. Akatsi South today has one, then Dapa also has one. But the critical issue in my constituency is this: the only secondary school that we have. It will amaze you to know that the school is without an equipped library. The school is without computers. And I keep asking myself, how can we have, in this day and age, a secondary school that is the only one even? How can we have such a facility without the enabling environment in terms of ICT to build capacity for the youth that we are developing? Because in the digital age today, I keep telling people the same examination that people in Pansipim, people in Adisado, people in other institutions, the same examination that they do is the same one that our kids do in the rural sector. So the question is, how can we improve upon such a facility so that we can build a better human resource? For me, as a human resource expert, I believe that we need to just go beyond the vision or the talk by practicalizing it to the cellular level. How can we build 100 ICT experts, even e-commerce or webmasters? How can we have basic computers in the secondary school so that at least if we have our children in the secondary school with basic computer skills, it gives them a better platform to build upon to move into the tertiary institution. Not them moving into the tertiary institution before being introduced to MS Word. Now, so basically, I'm looking at how we can close that gap. It would also amaze you that the school is without an equipped library, as I said earlier. And the interesting thing is, we have an MP who is a member of the Education Committee in Parliament. And for me, I believe that he should have done better in terms of advocating for the critical needs in building human resources. So there is a huge gap up there. Now, how do we also look at the other brothers and sisters who are not into traditional education? How do we then build vocational skills, empower them so that they can have hands-on job opportunities? For instance, if you want to look at even ICT, as I'm saying, today you don't necessarily have to be a graduate to be a web developer. You don't need to be a graduate to be a hardware developer or a hardware engineer. If we can build even capacity in fashion designing, if we can look into carpentry, if we can look into other technical domains, I believe that we can look at this human resource development holistically. Now, moving forward also, in the health sector, this district is the only one without a district hospital. When you visit the facilities, it is sad because you virtually have nothing there. There's no resident medical officer or doctor. You don't have sufficient beds. Equipment are not there, and the citizens are really suffering. So let me
bring in Honorable Peter Nochu Kote in this conversation, and I'd like to pick your reaction, especially on the educational gap Dr. Senano talks about, also because we've heard some of your constituents talk about education.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I said earlier, we are, or I am concerned with the human resource development of the constituency. That is what I've said myself. You cannot just start from the middle or the top. So my concern has been to lay a very good foundation at the basic level, which I have done severally. Then also to look at the secondary level. We have only one secondary constituency.
And even that, he says it doesn't have a well-equipped library.
No, it is not that it is not well equipped. It is what we can say a developing school. A developing school in the sense that when the school was established, it was one of the few schools that was established when the junior high school system or the new education reform program was started. So we have been developing it. It's good to the school now. You see a number of development projects going on. There are projects going on, and assembly hall projects going on, classroom blocks going on, and that has been through my mentality. I thought I was able to lobby for those projects. If not because the government stopped the payment or not paid the contractors on time, those projects have completed. So it's a development process. We cannot get all the facilities done at the same time. So if you have about 3 major projects ongoing at the same time, we can say that the school is giving attention. Now, if you go to the school now, all the students, I have about 30% of the school, the students or the students under my sponsorship. So I wanted them to have the secondary education and then can progress. And the report I had from the headmaster this year, that those who were under my sponsorship who finished the secondary school this year did very well. So I've even met with them and see how best we can help them continue tertiary level this year. So we have, or I have a plan, a well-defined program for them.
Okay, let me pick a few of the messages coming from your constituents, and I'll start with this one. He says, I want to know what the MP is doing about the market which has been constructed at Ave Dakpa. I will get you to respond to that. Let me pick this one also from Shitu. He says, let your achievements speak for you if you are an incumbent. Okay. And I saw one also from your constituent. He said, the incumbent MP has done well. I am concerned, but he needs to do more. Hashtag we need water. Hashtag we need electricity. Hashtag we have brilliant minds in Akatsi North that needs to be helped to further their education to the tertiary level. Our health center, where my mother currently works, is nothing to write home about. Let's start with the market at Ave Dakpa, and then we can also talk about the health center this gentleman is talking about, Mr. Nochu.
Yeah, thank you very much. The market project was started by the previous PC, and when NDC lost power and they have put the project on hold. We've spoken about it several times, but that doesn't seem to be their priority. So the market stores, the shops that you see, are yet to be completed. So we have been always talking about that assembly that there's a need to continue the project. But again, I am also told, or I know, that a new site has been approved and demarcated for a new market complex. So that government very soon. I've been part of the team that was taken to the market from its present congested a new place. And I'm aware of that come next year, that project, according to the Assembly, is going to start. And I know where that is going to get.
How do you react to the gentleman who talks about water, electricity, and the fact that there are bright students who need to be helped? And on top of it, he's more concerned about the health center in that constituency. He says, there's nothing good to write home about.
Yeah, there was a program for every district to get a district hospital. A district hospital. But when NDP took over, that program is yet to be implemented. So we are still talking with the Ministry of Health, so that when government is ready to establish or continue with the district hospital program, Akatsi North can also be considered. I know very well that when I became MP, the challenge we had there was even accommodation for the nurses. So I used part of my health insurance fund to reconstruct or refurbish the nursing quarters, 4-unit nursing quarters, which they are now occupying. I was also able to work on the maternity block. What's left now for us to do is the OPD, which I know we are working to get funds to do it also. So there are plans for a new district hospital, and I hope that not long that will come to pass. Then about water. Yeah, I know very well that I have been able to provide. I had in 2012, 2013, I was able to engage an NGO which built 70 boreholes in the constituency. They have now left. So my target now is any other NGO.
Okay, Mr. Nocho, Honorable, please position yourself well because we are having some breaks in your line so that we can hear you clearly. I think it's better now. You can go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that for now, between 2013 and 2014, I had an NGO which provided 70 boreholes throughout the constituency before they left for northern region. I am in conversation with them if they can come back and then they will continue and build a few more because there were even some they did not put on it the farm that they had to install. So I'm hoping that very soon they will come back and then work on it.
Let me bring in Dr. Donald Senanu into this conversation, and I want to ask you the same question. You've heard that constituent talking about the health center in the constituency, which he says is in jeopardy. He's talking about water needs, he's talking about electricity and roads. What would you do differently?
Yes, thank you. I've also, not even differently, I've even started doing it already. Honorable knows very well that he's even applauded me on various platforms for my contribution towards mitigating the water crisis in the constituency. Number one, I could say that I've provided water for almost 5,000, if more than 5,000, no more than 5,000 people in my constituency. I wouldn't say that he hasn't provided any, but the only difference is I have provided this without being an MP. When you look at the water scarcity in Akatsi North, I feel like crying because you go to so many communities without water. And I keep asking myself, what has bedeviled us? What is the cause of this? What is causing all these things? Is it about leadership? Because why should we have infrastructural projects and what is a basic requirement for survival will be lost? Because for me, water is part of the fundamental human right. And if something must be done, water must be prioritized. When you look at the value chain of water specifically, if you cannot have access to good drinking potable water, that at the long run would affect your health. So there is an interconnection, even with education. If we want to build upon solid education or sustainable education, then we have to look at water. Because how do we then send our children to school without water. They have to walk, very long to go and fetch water. Some communities, you don't even have water at all. So if we want to look at education and we want to invest into education, fundamentally, we need to appreciate that water is so crucial, it's so basic. Number two, the education we are talking about, if I have to sound apostolic, I would say that if the foundations of the righteous are shaken, and the righteous do, ICT today is very basic. It's like you have a car without license. Okay, so if somebody is saying that my vision is to educate the people, how are you educating the people so that they can be well equipped in the 21st century competitive world? Are you building SSC graduates without computer literacy? Are you building a human resource without what Mr. Branca will put? The production is not an application of tools to work, but logic. How are we prepared so that we have a workforce of human resource that is well equipped? So I am not saying that let's begin to build from the sky, but basically, I feel that ICT is so key. And also, if you have a secondary school without library, then what are they learning? Which books are they reading? Are those books current? And if you have somebody who is part or even a ranking member of the education committee, should we have such a school in that deficit, or we should be a role model? So this is all about leadership. So it's not about feeling that, oh, what we've done is okay. We could do more. It's like you having a striker for a team, and he keeps on scoring one goal, and he feels that one goal is okay. And when you have another striker that will give you 3-4 goals, you don't wait for the one that can give you one goal. When you look at the health sector, I said it earlier, the only district clinic we have.
Let me bring in Mr. Nochu once again, and I must say that we've been trying to reach the third person, Dr. Stephen Tokpo, to join the conversation. You may be aware that 3 people are aspiring to be parliamentary candidates on the ticket of NDC come tomorrow during the primaries. Now, Mr. Nochu, one of the messages that is coming also from David Bekle from Adidome, he says, we need viable factories to cater for our teeming youth. What have you done since 2012 in this regard?
Thank you very much. I said earlier on that, people, you have a saying that for lack of education, our people perish. And if you don't give youth education, you don't give them that knowledge, how do you expect them to progress? Do you want them to be in ignorance and because they cannot develop? So what we are doing is that once you are giving them the needed education, at least the academic qualification, that is the way forward to help them. You don't need to bring any magic wand. The basic thing is the education that they seek.
Is there any factory there that we can boast of in that constituency? One.
We don't have any factory in there.
What are your plans? What are your plans?
Ours is a rural section, and many of our youth are into farming. Those who have not gotten the opportunity to go to the tertiary institutions, some have got farming. And I can tell you that I supported more than 400 of them this year with chemicals to enable them expand their farming activity.
Okay.
And then some also, we have also started the pilot system this year on coconut production. This dual coconut here, we have about 20 farmers. We are giving them 1 acre of the coconut farm each as a pilot to see how they are going to develop it so that we can expand it if the results that we expect from them is good. So there are plans to help them. Some are even into center weaving, and we have supported them with the necessary materials that they need to expand their center weaving industry.
One important thing that is very dear to my heart, teenage pregnancy, especially among school pupils. And in May this year, 61 basic school people were pregnant in just a space of 2 months. Has this come to your notice?
Yeah, it came to my notice, and what we did or I did is to support the District Education Directorate, especially the Girl Child Education Unit, to embark on a massive education exercise so that we can stem the tide, because it is not the best for us if our guests are pregnant and it is not good. And
okay, I think we lost.
We are monitoring them very well.
Okay. Let me put the same question to you, Dr. Donald Senanu. Initially, we're talking about factories in that constituency, and I'm talking about teenage pregnancy, perhaps because there are no jobs, or probably because of the level of poverty. That is why we're seeing. What are your plans for that constituency with regards to these two issues?
Yeah, thank you. One of my main plans is to build small-scale enterprises or human enterprise, rural enterprise development. When you look at Akatsi North, the program of Akatsi North, basically it's an agrarian environment, and a lot to be done in this sector. For instance, the land is very good for cultivation of pineapple, and when you look at the value chain of pineapple alone, take a company like Blue Sky. The level of production for Blue Sky, the demand for raw material for production, is so high that even as we speak, at times they have importing pineapple or the raw fruit. So my plan basically is to concentrate on that very sector. Then number two, cassava. You could derive ethanol from cassava. Even Gary production is one of the things that I keep telling people, that it is for us to go into cultivating cassava, processing it into Gary, or have small Gary factory. Then above all, you have a lot of raw here that could help us have storage. So at the entrepreneurial level, I have a blueprint for creating jobs for the people, right from the agricultural sector to mining, if I will put it that way. And also, cancer industry is one of the evolving enterprises in the country.
I sure hope that all of this will transpire into action and will not remain as words in the event the people of your constituency give you the nod, and that's all time will allow us. And I want to say that I'm grateful that the two gentlemen joined in this discussion. Peter Nochukote is incumbent for the Akatsi North constituency, and Dr. Donald Senanu Agomenu is also aspiring to be a candidate in the primaries, which happens tomorrow. Unfortunately, we did not get Dr. Stephen Tokbo, who is the third aspirant to speak with in this conversation. We'll take a break. There is more to come on the Pulse in a jiffy. Please take and stay with us.